Okay, so as we have discussed some genes related with apoptosis and their place, the proteins related with apoptosis, intrinsic pathway of apoptosis, and how they play a role in keeping cytochrome C inside the mitochondria or letting it outside of the mitochondria so that apoptosis process can start. See, it's very interesting that how this information has come about, how we all know about these proteins, or we all know about these pathways, different pathways, because these are studied in a model organisms. Okay, for example, now I will tell you about a very interesting model organism, that is C. elegans. Okay, C. elegans, it's a nematode. Okay, the wonderful thing about the C. elegans is we know exactly how many cells C. elegans has. Okay, and we know exactly what their function is, and we know where they are placed, we know their movement, okay, by a lot of research. So if you talk about C. elegans, okay, C. elegans has around 1090 cells. Okay, it has 1090 cells, we know them. Okay, and in that we have tracked that around 131 goes under apoptosis. Okay, and around 131 cells goes under apoptosis. So if you talk about 1090, so around 959 cells they develop, and they have different functions, they develop into the whole organisms. Okay, so we have tracked the cells, we have known their proteins which are important in these cells, so we have tracked those pathways. That's how the information has come about. Okay, so in specifically in this fundamental topics, okay, in life processing and this fundamental topics, the role of model organisms, the role of research in model organisms are very important, because they explore, people explore the pathways in them, and it's very easy, and most of the proteins and genes are very similar to us, and we also have the homology in our body. Okay, so earlier all this stuff has been discovered in C. elegans, some of the Drosophila, and different and more model organisms. That's how we come to know about these stuffs. Okay, so let's discuss about cytochrome C. So now what happens when cytochrome C come out? Why it is so bad? Okay, so we'll discuss that. So let's say cytochrome C comes out, happy guy. Okay, now there is a protein over here. Okay, there is a protein over here, and this protein is, okay, this protein is, let's say this protein is like this. This protein has this domain. This protein has this domain. Okay, this protein is called APAF1. Okay, this protein is called APAF1. What do you mean by APAF? APAF means apoptotic. Okay, apoptotic protease activating factor, activating factor type 1, or activating factor 1. Okay, APAF1. So this apoptotic protease activating factor has this domain attached to this, and this domain is called card domain. What is called? Card domain. And this card domain, what do you mean by card domain? It means caspase recruiting domain. Okay, it's called caspase recruiting domain. So this is card domain, caspase recruiting domain. You can, yeah, so it's card domain. Now generally what happens, okay, when cytochrome C comes and attach to this card, to this APAF1 in this ligand binding site where this will bind. So cytochrome C was in blue color, so we will draw in blue color. Let's say cytochrome C comes and binds. Okay, here. So what will happen to this APEF1? Okay, here cytochrome C, in this is your card domain. This is your card domain. Like this, around seven card domain will aggregate itself. Around 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are card domains, correct? They all have, they're attached with APEF. Okay. And now these are activated because cytochrome C is attached to APEF1. And there is one more protein which has this card domain. Now this protein is okay, this protein is our own caspase, and specifically caspase type 9. Caspase 9. What is caspase? Caspase is proteolytic enzyme. It has cysteine residues and it acts on aspartate amino acid. Okay, that's why these are called caspases. Okay, so this specific type of caspase 9 has card domain. Okay, of course this is pro domain, this is large subunit, and this is small subunit. Okay, and they also get aggregate over here to the card domain. So you have card domains around 7 to 8, or lots and lots of your apoptotic protein or caspases will get attached over here. By the way, this structure is called apoptosome. When card domain aggregate together, they are called apoptosome. Okay, and because of this cytochrome C attachment, because of this card domains get activated, and that's why your caspase protein will get cleaved. Your pro domain, which is inhibiting caspase not to act, it will get cleaved. Your large subunit and small subunit will get divided, and you will get something like this structure. This is large subunit, this is small subunits, and this is large subunit. So this is activated caspase 9. Okay, this is activated caspase 9, and this activated caspase 9, okay, this activated caspase 9 cannot do major function because it will activate other major caspases. So this is just initiation, or this is just initiator caspases. So this initiator caspases will activate executioner caspases, which are very similar in the structure. Okay, for example, caspase 3. Okay, so this initiator caspases, which is caspase 9, because caspase 9 only has this card domain. Okay, this caspase 9, which is very unique to your intrinsic pathway, which will activate executioner caspases, and we know what executioner caspases do. Executioner caspases will cleave cytoplasm. Okay, it will cleave cytoplasm. For example, this is the whole cell. Let me come over here. Okay, this is the cell. Okay, what does caspase do? So your caspase 9, let's say I am drawing this structure like this. This is caspase 9, and very happy. Okay, this is caspase 9. So this caspase 9 will activate executioner caspases. Okay, caspase 3 and 1 to 12, all which are executioner caspases. And what this caspase do? The caspase, let's say this is nucleus. Okay, first of all, it will cleave or will try to cut the cytoskeleton of the cell. Okay, cytoskeleton of the cell, and because of that, if cytoskeleton is eaten, the cell will kind of shrink. Okay, then this executioner caspases goes inside the nucleus, and it activates DNase enzyme. And what this DNase do? DNase is enzyme. So let's say you have, okay, this caspases also cleave proteins like your scaffolding protein. Scaffolding protein. So what does scaffolding protein do? Scaffolding protein is responsible to maintain the structure of chromosome. If scaffolding protein is cleaved away or it is chopped, then what will happen? You will have this nucleosome structure. Okay, and because of this, what will happen? Now your scaffolding protein is eaten, so your DNA is uncondensed now, it is in this nucleosome form. Your DNase is now activated, this DNase will cleave over here, okay, and you will get nucleosomes, you will get these structures. थोड़ा एक दो histone proteins, around 2-3 nucleosomes. Okay, of course all the laminal protein which will be degenerated, so that your nuclear membrane is also not there, so all DNA will come out. The whole cell is mess now, and it will start budding off. And when it buds off, okay, it will start budding off like this. Okay, sorry, it will start budding off like this, and then it will make this. This is, of course, this is membrane, and it will have some kind of nucleus. It will have some cytoplasm. So this structure is called apoptotic body. So around one cell will be converted into around 20 to 25 apoptotic bodies, and this apoptotic bodies is eaten by your macrophages. Okay, so this is why cytochrome C needs to be inside the mitochondria. Okay, this is how it happens. So in earlier we have talked about these proteins which are very important, anti-apoptotic and pro-apoptotic. The balance between both is very important, okay, which will decide the cell will live or cell will die. Okay, let's take one example. To finish off this lecture, so you will get an idea about how this all happens. Okay, so it will also be a good revision for us. Okay, yeah. So let's say there is a cell. Okay, there is a cell. Let's say this is neuronal cell. Okay, and we have a tyrosine kinase receptor. Okay, we all know what is tyrosine kinase receptor. This tyrosine kinase receptor is activated, this one pass receptor is activated, okay, by a factor which is neuronal growth factor. Okay, and when it is activated, what will happen? By the consecutive pathway, we have discussed this pathway, AKT pathway, and it will activate your PKB. Okay, so that pathway will be activated. I will draw some of the stuff here. Okay, so I am drawing this stuff over here, so there is no space. So this is your membrane. Okay, now what has happened? Your neuronal growth factor has come and attached over this receptor, and this growth factor receptor will activate the down pathway, which is AKT PKB pathway. And because of that, now you have to understand, if growth factor is there, you need cell to live or cell to die. Of course, we have to somehow down regulate pro-apoptotic genes, because we need more of these genes. We need BCL2 to be there, we need BCL2 to block, okay, we need BCL2 to block BAX. So when this pathway works, when your PKB and AKT, this pathway works, okay, it will, now we all know we have BAD protein, BAD protein, we have BAD protein, and what happens to this BAD? Okay, BAD will be activated or deactivated. Suppose there is neuronal growth factor. Suppose there is neuronal growth factor, we have, let's say, plus neuronal growth factor. What will happen to BAD? And what will happen to apoptosis process? Apoptosis will happen or it will not happen. First of all, what will happen to BAD? BAD will be activated or deactivated? Of course, BAD will be deactivated. So BAD will become inactive. And that's why apoptosis will take place. On the other hand, if neuronal growth factor is not there, what will happen to BAD? BAD will be active. And if BAD will active, here apoptosis will not take place, and here apoptosis will take place. I hope you understood this and you pointed out the mistake. Okay. So if neuronal growth factor is there, it will inactive BAD. If BAD is inactive, it cannot bind to BCL2. If BCL2 is not binded to BAD, BCL2 will go and aggregate, will be binded to BX, and BX will form aggregate with BAK, and because of that the channel will get activated and your cytochrome C will come out of the mitochondria, and it will cytochrome C will not come out of the mitochondria, and it will not activate APF, and apoptosome will not form. Exactly like that, if neuronal growth factor is not there, that means there is no growth factor, your BAD will become active. If BAD is active, BAD will be aggregate, BAD will form aggregate with BCL2. Okay. BX, there is no one to form aggregate with BX, so BX will form aggregate with itself, and with BAK there will be channel form. Your cytochrome C will go from inside the mitochondria to the outside in the cytoplasm. It will go and bind to APF. Card domain will be activated. It will form apoptosome, and apoptosome will be activating caspase 9, which will activate executioner caspases, and executioner caspases will chop away your cytoplasm, your nuclear laminin, then your nucleosome, and your cell will be shrinked, and it will form into apoptotic bodies, around 20 to 30 apoptotic bodies, and these apoptotic bodies will be eaten by your macrophages. Okay, so I hope you understood this whole concept, you understood this intrinsic pathway very well. Okay, thank you very much.